Welcome, everyone. Welcome to a fiery day. Very fiery day today. At least a fiery day for me. So I'm hoping everybody is well in their realm and as the day is unfolding. So I did pull out some beautiful fairy cards today. And I mean, for the energy, uh, being so fiery and, a little, might be feeling a little bit like someone's poking the bear and you're the bear that's being poked. So just honor that a little bit within this. But this is, coming into with Mars and Leo, and it's contraparallel to Jupiter right now. As it's going into Virgo later on today, there's some really deep psychological desires that are coming through. And Mars argues for separation. Jupiter needs to let Mars do what he wants to do. So you can't control him. And this is almost where with this Mars and Jupiter dance that is going on, very much to when we go back to December of last year, when Mars, Jupiter, Venus, no, Venus wasn't there, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn, and Pluto were all in Capricorn at, with the conjunction around, in December and into January of 2020. Oh, I'm going back to December of 2019. Wow. Okay. So there is this tension that's been playing off for a while, and this is leading up to it. This is like the opposition, or it is where it's, coming into and saying, I'm doing it this way, and Jupiter's, like, well, are you sure you want to do it that way? That doesn't make any sense. Or have you planned everything out the way that you want it? And there is just releasing it, release the struggle, release whatever's hanging on. And there is that feeling of, I'm tired of being controlled or told what to do. And Jupiter, is, wanting to, maybe look at a bigger picture, or maybe, because he's coming into Aquarius. So he's coming over those last degrees of Aquarius, and as he's going all the way back up to 22 degrees. So Mars is just as feisty. He's on Regulus. Regulus, the beautiful regal star, is coming in too. So we have this, Mars saying, this is where I'm on my path. And even with Venus is inclined to go into the direction she doesn't want to go in. So we have these personal planets that are saying, I don't need your permission. I don't need you to tell me what to do. And she is squaring the nodes of fate, right? And in squaring those nodes of fate, this is like, pay attention to who invites you to go. Who's inviting you to go? Where is there an invitation that is coming to you? And she's looking at, it's like almost she gets an invitation to go somewhere, but she's not asking anybody's permission. She's just going. And it's causing, with Mars is saying too, he has some desires, but they're very, when it comes to when the planets are going into the psychological part of our own psyche and our ego, it really comes into our deepest desires of where we want to go. What does that look like? And the frustrations may come up, and the frustrations could come up in ways that are saying, well, I can't do that right now. I'm not financially that I'm at that place at this time. My body is unfit. There's so much that could be coming in. Thank you. Thanks, Dana. I'm on a roll, but thank you. And thanks for watching on YouTube. Yes, watch YouTube, like and subscribe, share it out. Yes. I can have a big thing. Subscribe. It comes into the recesses of our own selves. And when it comes into these parts of us, when it comes into these deep parts of ourselves, it really plays on us, and that's what I'm feeling. There is a energy that's coming in, and sometimes it's easier to, like, because with that Mars is causing a lot of issues, Mars and Venus, because it's like easier to fight when you have to separate. So bless and thank them. So closing chapters, separating out. This is time I'm saying I'm ready to go forward. You know, there is that, that Jupiter wants to expand it. Jupiter, and oppositions are usually difficult, because it's opposite to what you want to do. They're over there, and they're seeing things in a different perspective than what you're seeing it. And maybe you don't want to listen to their perspective. Maybe you don't want to hear what they have to say. And this is where, with Mars, we'll be in Virgo until September 14th. So this is organization. This is getting your lists out. This is seeing the finer details and moving towards transition and change. It can be a very difficult one, but Mars is wanting us to get the details on the transition and change that you want to take, because the World card came out for us today. And the World card when we're looking at the major arcanas, right? So it starts off at the Fool. The Fool goes through his little journey, and as he goes through the journey, he finally ends up at the World. This is the transition part. This is the ending. So there's an ending and a new beginning. So the Fool has gained experience, knowledge upon his journey, and he's ready to go on a new journey. He's into feeling the freedom that, yes, I've done this. I've finished. I've completed. I am feeling a freedom, the Fool. So you think about it like the world, this is like ending. Now he's setting off on that Fool's journey once again. So here we are coming to a conclusion and moving into a direction of something new. Something new within ourselves. It could be, and with the psychological effects, it could be new ways of thinking, new thought patterns, new ideas. Those are the types of energies that are coming in. With that can cause anxiety, can cause frustration and anger. Like I gotta say, like the fire trine is really bringing in a lot of fire. Fire's transition and change. It is the flame, but fire signs have a lot of anger. That's the other side to fire. When you get a pissed off fire sign, they burn it off and they're just like, and they're just whatever's in their pathway, right? It's like the Tasmanian devil coming in, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm fine. And that could be how you're feeling. It's just like you got all this pent up energy, and we have portals that are opening and transition lights coming in, oppositions coming in. So we might be feeling like you're kind of in a ring, that you're just, all of this is coming at you, and you're just like, okay, today I just need a break. Today I just need to sit in a sage pile and sit in the smoke of the sage and allow everything to be moved away, right? And allowing for that energy to move away, allowing for that to go through. And that's where, with this energy, being with so much fire can bring in a lot of energies, and a lot of energies to get things released for people. So again, it's like, I love it. It feels amazing, which is great. But I could guarantee you 90% of the population isn't feeling that. They're feeling the anger, they're feeling the frustrations, they're feeling the overwhelmness of it. So getting out in nature, like this morning as I went for my walk, looking at the trees, it was wonderful looking at the trees, and talking to them and showing people on my Instagram live this morning all the day, like, oh, look at this tree, because the trees hold so many different personalities, right? So get out in nature. I mean, that to me right now, this is the biggest piece. Get by water, go by a river, go by a lake, the ocean, wherever you are. What time do you go for a walk? I'm usually out of the house by 7 a.m. Usually out. I have meditation at 6 to 6:30. 6:30 to 7 is yoga, and then I go for a walk probably from 7 till 8, 8:30, and then I'm home. That's my morning. And in the meantime, I'm looking at the astrology and listening to um, different podcasts and stuff like that. So, and then I come in and sit down, and here I am. So kind of crazy, but this is where it's better to bless them and walk away than and close a chapter to something than try and confront right now. Sometimes it's easier to, sometimes maybe it's easier to fight when you have to separate. Maybe you need to put the final line down and say, I'm done, and then walk away, right? And then go from there. Lovely routine you have. I am up all hours cheering on the Olympics. Yeah, I'm not into the Olympics. My husband is. He's watching it. I'm not. It's yeah. To me, I don't know. I don't know. Everybody's at the height of the peak of what they're doing, which is fast. It's fabulous. But there's too many different controversial things that are happening with the Olympics, and it irritates. Well, everything irritates me, I think. Just a lot of things going on. The one girl, and I was going to mention, because with the nodes of fate right now, making that the one woman Olympic who is leaving the Olympics because she said she can't handle it. I find that odd. I find that really odd for her to be walking away. These are athletes. You're at the peak of what you're doing. You are at the estelage. You are at the top. You are the crust. You are the upper crust of your abilities, right? So the nodes of the fate are nodes of, well, that's another name for north node and south node. They are the nodes of fate. They are the one who are making the changes. I don't know if that's her name, but she's the one who is going out talking about sexual abuse and abuse within gymnastics. And unfortunately, I mean, this is where you have to really, if you're putting your child through anything like that, as a parent, you got to be there. You got to be hands-on. You got to be hands-on. You got to be showing up for your kids, right? And oh no, she's gone through the trauma. She's been speaking about this for years. Like, she's been out in the forefront and speaking about it and talking about it. The doctor's been charged. He's been through trial. I believe he's in jail on I don't know how many counts, and in jail for like a 106-year life sentences or something crazy like that. So he's definitely there, but I think there's a payoff happening there. You're 24. This is what you've worked for, and you're leaving. But there's something that doesn't feel right, and definitely, yeah, trauma, definitely sexual abuse. She has psychologists or psychiatrists. She's been going through all of that. She's been speaking out about it. But to me, there's just something. This is what you're trained for. Like, if anybody's worked with top athletes, and I know there's always a mental breaking and all of that and all that crazy stuff, right? But but PTSD still creeps in on. Yeah, I'm not going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I know she's gone through shit, but my spidey senses to think she got paid off. She got paid off because she was the contender for the gold medal. Like, she had it in bag. But No, no, I agree. I agree. But she got paid. I honestly think that she got paid off. The reason being is that you are making a spectacle of a sport that makes a lot of money, and making a lot of money off that. And that's what my psyche is. And I have to admit, I'm usually 99.9% right when these things come up. And it's just like, whoa. And some of them are things I'm not going to deny her psychological disposition or anything like that. And how the horrific that she went through. Um, I really feel so. I really feel that sometimes, especially because I've had my kids go through sports and everything, but being hands on and showing up all the time is important, and listening to your kids is so important. Listening to what they're saying. When my son came out of the dressing room one day, and he came out, he was playing, and it was a harsh game, and it was a horrific game, and it was where a lot of parents were heckling my son on the ice and calling him names that should not be called. And one parent was beside me calling him that name, and I confronted him. And this is where you listen. And when my son said he's done, he was done. I honored that. And that's the thing, is that as parents, you got to watch your children, right? And you got to watch their cues. And if they're off as a parent, and especially when you work with high athletic children, when they're off. So that's when you have those conversations and you sit down with them. Maybe some parents aren't attuned with that, but I believe if you got a child that is there, I think that's highly, highly important too. Since something about was up, but there's a mask on her. Too hard for emotional trauma as a cause for departure. Yeah. And you are at the elite. You are at the upper crust of the upper crust. And when you get to a certain point, and when athletes break through certain things, it's like the tennis one who said that I'm not doing this anymore because of my mental illness, or I'm mentally incapable. And then she turns around and does interviews with other magazines and things, but you're unable to show up for other news events. Interesting. So there's a lot that's there. And yes, they are under a lot of stress, and they're trained for, this is part of their training. Most, especially in gymnastics, they've been doing this since they were 3, in little tumble bumble doing and that their life has been gymnastics. Their life has been doing gymnastics. Right down to ballet dancers. The shit that ballet dancers have to go through, and their feet and weight. In some ballet companies, they get weighed in every day, and they have to be at a certain weight. It's, as dancers, that's a lot of pressure. Same with Disney dancers too, the people who perform on the boats and stuff like that, cruises. I've had a few girls from Penticton that were on the cruises, and one girl got sent home because she just couldn't lose the 5 pounds. And her mom pulled her. She says, no, you don't have to lose 5. There's nothing more for you to lose, kind of thing. And the pressure that's on them, right? So this is, all that comes down on them. Yet, definitely. But when somebody is extremely outspoken within a sport, and you're there, but you're not outside of the sport now. So if you notice, a lot of athletes, once they start speaking, is once they're outside of the sport. Once they've done their stint, then they start coming out, or they've removed themselves from it. She was still in the middle of it. She was still doing and performing and being there. And It's to see the whole thing. Yeah, her chart would be interesting to look at. But the nodes of fate, because when Venus trined with the nodes of fate, that means there's change. And nodes of fate, when planets hit those nodes, Mercury comes in, says, come and tell me the truth. That's where Mercury, Mercury truth too. But in Gemini, with the North nodes in Gemini saying, show me the truth. I need to know the truth and show me the way. And she was in that North node. Bang, I'm in my North node. South node, oh, let me, maybe something better will come along. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I'll just go and take a time out. So when the South Node Sag comes in, it's like you're waiting for somebody else to do it. You're waiting for something to come along and make it happen for you, instead of taking that North Node in Gemini and saying, here's the facts, here's the information, let's go on. And something broke there. Something broke. They could have hit right on to her, different dispositions that were within her. And unfortunately, she stepped down. I think this is going to be something she will regret. She will regret. And regretting what her decision is something that she's going to have to live with, because you have worked so hard your whole life, and you allowed something, whatever it is, to stop you from getting that which you know you deserved. So, and what do you mean, when did the nodes of fate happen? The nodes of fate are always happening. The North node's been in Gemini, for over a year now. They move every 18, 19 months. But then they have different aspects that hit them, right? And then when they hit them, like the other day when Saturn was hitting, it's like things get faded. Or when the moon hits it, things become faded. That means it is inevitable. Like things are, here it is. Here's the information. This is inevitable. This is, here's the truth. So this is the direction that needs to be, that you need to look at and go in and go towards. So with the nodes of fate coming in, with Venus in Virgo, and she's not trining, but she's squaring the nodes of fate, you have a choice about how to proceed. And Venus will be inclined to go into the directions others don't approve of. So she moved in a direction that others may not approve of, but there's something else that's there. But she knows what she has to do, and gives her permission. So paying attention to what's coming in, what's inviting you, what is happening, who's inviting you. And with Venus squaring there, plus there was the hammer of Thor energy coming down onto Venus, in that, saying this is, when the hammer of Thor comes down, it's very electrical, and it's like, boom, what's going to happen here? How is that energy going to come out? And that was with the hammer of Thor was made through Uranus and Saturn with Venus. So this is, and then Mars will be getting the hammer of Thor also. So when this happens, you can watch different reactions and things that are going on in the world around you, and or even within your own life. What is being, who's the hammer coming down on? Is it coming down on you, or are you watching somebody, or are you the one holding the hammer and having the hammer come down upon somebody else? So this is where it's like, who's in that control of the hammer, and how is that hammer coming forward in your life and around you and within the consciousness. So it's, just a perspective, but sending her out so much love. I'm hoping she stands in her power and her light. She's a very beautiful, athletic woman. And being at 24, it sounds horrible to say, as an athlete in that industry, you're done. After 24, you don't see too many gymnasts come back. But you know what? Maybe she can. Who knows? But yeah, so much. So, which is unfortunate. So today, watch how the hammer of Thor comes down in your life and around you. Watch how you feel. Allow your light to continue shine. This is really bricklaying time. I think you're going to feel it more so as soon as Mars goes into Virgo, you're really going to feel like, okay, let's get down to business. Let's get things done and make those lists and keep laying those bricks down. So looking at the bricks that you want to lay down, what kind of bricks do the bricks keep coming in. So I know there's a lot of work that we have to do, and looking at that. So your lists on your organizing, analyzing, and what do you want to conquer in your own self and in upon your road. So is there something there that you want to conquer upon it and open up to it? So, and the other cards that came out were, after the world came the Lover's card. So following your heart. So the Lover's card comes in and it's like saying, follow your heart. You're doing something, follow your heart, because the sun did come out. I mean, it was beautiful, beautiful energy. I love this card. I love the unicorn, and he's, blowing his horn, doing his thing, coming in.
When I tried to grab the leash from the ground, Arya tried to bite me.
Okay, who just came in?
Papa.
Okay, we'll get Arya in her kennel. So, enjoying golf me time. Can do it for free, so why wouldn't I? Yeah. And this is also where, doing some, what are the procedures that you want to do, right? And do more research. Do more research on whatever it is that you want to do and how you want to do it. And that's helping you to lay your stones. That's helping you to go in the direction that you need to go into. Really, and hold it to your heart. Always hold things to your heart, to which direction. And go, just don't react. Hold it for a minute and say, okay, why am I feeling this way? Maybe today's not the day to make the decision. I'm going to have to put it off a day, or give me a couple hours and I will, do it tomorrow, right? And do it from there, go from there. And Dana has a club championship this weekend. Have fun. My son is really into golfing. He has a really nice, fine set of golf clubs. And he went to play hockey this morning. So he's playing hockey this morning. And I think he might be going to the range later on today. And yeah, and doing that. I don't know. I wonder if, well, him playing, I think he's played different tournaments with hockey, but it's kind of, I think their tournaments are a little bit, there's a lot of alcohol on every in every upon the course when they're playing their games. So I'm hoping that love to golf with your son. Tell him my treat. Oh, he'd love to. I'll let him know. He's he's a good kid. He's a good kid. Very, very rule oriented, though. That's that Gemini Capricorn moon energy where you can liquor, I can liquor him up. Well, then you'd really have him. You'd really have him out there. He'd be out there going on the course. Definitely enjoying that. So which is nice. Golf is it's a nice sport. It's nice to get out. It's nice to connect with the energies and stuff. So and getting out on the golf course. And I haven't played golf in years. So but I want everybody to have a good day. If you're feeling a little crabby or bitchy, maybe have a shower. Have a shower. Maybe that's what I'm going to do next. Go have a shower. Light your candles. A Gemini Capricorn. Yeah, he has a Capricorn moon. So, and I think I always confuse my children. I think he has a rising Aquarius, so when it comes to orientation and being meticulous, yeah, he's extremely meticulous. His Saturn is 2 degrees off my Saturn in Aquarius. So, which I find interesting. No, he has an Aquarius moon. Capricorn rising, that's what it is. Capricorn rising and Aquarius moon. And then his Saturn is in Aquarius. All of that is in his first house. But with the Capricorn rising, definitely structured. Definitely structured. He has a Gemini sun, Capricorn rising, and an Aquarius moon. So he can see the bigger picture, his internal core. Capricorn my two older ones have Capricorn moons, or not Capricorns, Aquarius moons. My eldest son and my second son, they both have that Aquarius in them. And my youngest son has Aquarius rising, and my daughter is Aquarius sun. So Aquarius energy is very in all of my kids in some format. And the only Aquarius I have is my Saturn. So, which is makes it for interesting play with it all. But his is because his Neptune and his Pisces are conjunct right on top of his ascendant in Capricorn. So he has to really keep himself grounded, very oriented. He comes out very structured. He's the only kid that out of all my children, he loves wearing suits. And when he goes on the golf course, everything is like he's got really interesting, not interesting. He's well dressed. Like he does not leave wrinkly. So he's not a wrinkly kid. Everything is well dressed, well pressed, organized. He has to have that organization, which is the Capricorn rising. So it's a Sagittarius sun, Aries moon, and rising. Ooh, Aries moon and rising. That's harsh. That's a lot of fire. That's a lot of fire, you know, for your sister. That's a lot of fire. Like she can go off like a volcano. And and then just and trying to deal with that, right? And trying to ground that back in, and especially rising, like great initiator ideas starting out. The Sag sun, I mean, they can be the diplomat, they can be, but if it's not harnessed, harnessed and or in a particular way, it can cause so much damage, not only to herself but to those around her. Definitely. How can you handle him? I've been handling Eddie, and I have had when he was little, he was just a holy terror. Loved him, but he very persistent. And she'll take on. Oh yeah, I can see that. Of course, she's fire. She's not gonna back down on anyone. That's for sure. Yeah, Edward is like Edward will argue with you, and he will make his point and make his point and make his point, and then make his point again. Debating, he's very good at debating and putting his point across, and making sure that you understand his point. So I always said that he would be a very good lawyer, but he's going into teaching. So he'll be a fabulous teacher as well. He's got that discipline and understanding. Very kind-hearted. He's got the kindness. I think the Aquarius moon really helps too. So, but I think it's interesting that I have the two older ones with the Aquarius moon, which brings in, that it brings in a lot of ET energy. extraterrestrial energies, trying to be connected into this world, yet being very hard. I mean, my oldest one with the moon in Scorpio, and just that's just not a good thing. Moon and sun in Scorpio, or sun in Scorpio, moon in Aquarius is, that causes a little bit of psychoness. But that's, when understanding your chart and understanding how the ebbs and flows work within your chart is, it's I think it really gives you a direction. And same with what we were talking about yesterday, and the human design. The more you understand about your human design is extremely helpful in how you work things. Like right now, he's got the moon is opposite. The moon is coming, or the sun is coming into the opposition of his moon. So it's just coming off of that, and then he'll have, so he's kind of moody lately. Because the sun is, the thing is that you've come to learn what's opposite you. So coming to learn what's opposite you, and coming to learn what's going on. And of course, my husband is coming to bother me again.
No, I was just telling you I'm leaving.
Oh, my husband's leaving, everybody. Steve is leaving.
He
got all the stuff.
I'm leaving to go by my sister.
He's going
leaving the house.
Well, you have to leave the house to go by your sister, right?
You know what I mean.
So my husband is leaving to go by his sister to visit.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else
specify.
Do you want any? Yeah, you got to be. What's for breakfast? Candace wants to know.
Oh, we had it already. Bacon and eggs with toast.
Bacon and eggs with toast.
Yeah. We're having bacon and steak wrapped.
Bacon and steak wrapped tonight for dinner.
No, for lunch.
That's for lunch.
Good.
Anything else?
And steak for dinner.
Oh, steak for dinner. Oh, so yeah.
With bok choy.
Yeah, bok choy and rice.
Okay. Have a nice day, ladies.
Have a nice day, ladies. And and there's muffins, blueberry muffins.
Yes.
Yes, we have blueberry muffins. And what else is there?
Bagels.
We have bagels and some other kind of
and white cheddar cheese.
White cheddar. Anyways, yeah. So you wouldn't starve.
Okay, see you. My grandson says he don't want to go nowhere with me.
So that's fine. So that's what, yeah. And if those who were on my in class last night, you got to see what my husband feeds me. Like, I mean, that was only dinner, but I mean, he does that kind of plate, that kind of food is for lunch too. So it's yeah. And if you tell him like, no, you don't want something, that was insane. So, and he got ice cream later. Yeah. We went to DQ and he just got plain ice cream, just a soft ice cream. And I just got a small strawberry orange Julius, right? I'm over here with a protein shake. So, and then for breakfast, bacon and eggs. So having eggs are a big thing in the house. So eggs, we go through a lot of eggs. And yeah, protein shake. It's probably what I should have for lunch. But that's yeah. So Candace, if you're ever hungry, come over and eat. My husband will make you eat. He will make sure that you have a plate, a plate full of food. I mean, when I used to have classes in the house, he would make sure he would cook up a whole bunch of food for people, even though you brought your lunch, and he would plate everybody and have serve everybody lunch. And he even got people who didn't like fish to eat fish, just the way that he does it. And they just loved it. And yeah, and he serves it up usually with bake or fry bake. So fry bake is, it's bread fried, dough fried, and then yeah, exactly where to go. Reminds me of my nan. And the saltfish, where he does the saltfish and then chops up the saltfish after you boil off all the salt, then chop it up, and then you have onions, tomatoes, and garlic all mixed up and fried up in an olive oil, and then you serve that with bake, which is like an unleavened bread, and that still rises because of the baking powder, and or fried bake, and makes round fried bake. So yeah. Can he move in with us? Yeah, when he's got everything or his ingredients and stuff, he really loves to do that kind of thing, like eat and make food. And then he'll only eat part of his dinner. He won't eat the whole thing. And the kids usually know that. So occasionally he'll go back and finish off his dinner. Usually it's not left. Somebody else has eaten it. Usually one of the boys. So, and he'll make my plate bigger than my son's, and we laugh. So we usually change plates because he puts more on my plate for some reason than on Edward's plate. So, and everybody's plate he makes up everybody's plate. Like, you don't go and serve yourself. He makes sure that, so he puts the portions on the plate. So that makes sure everybody has food and nobody gets more than somebody else or whatever. So yeah, the food in our house is an interesting dynamic, and how food is divvied out, how food is presented. It's a really there's quite, yeah, it's quite interesting. So with the food. So yeah, and then when my dad, he would go and actually sometimes make dinner for my dad when we lived in Penticton, and he'd go over and make sure dad had food and had stuff and do things like that for him. So yeah, it's definitely his love. I mean, he complains, but the thing is that if you go in there and you do it, and he probably, sometimes he'll eat it, sometimes he'll complain, like he doesn't like that's not what he wanted to eat, so he'll go make something else. And if you start cooking or just start going into the kitchen and doing something, he shows up, he comes into the kitchen. So it's it's like, why are you in the kitchen? I'm just he's like, makes up some kind of excuse, and he's like, no, out. So yeah, the joy of food in my house is an interesting one. It's an interesting one. So it's his love language. It definitely is his love language, but sometimes it's a little bit too much love for people, and the weight gain creeps up on you. And then you get what, as the Islanders say, oh, Mary, you got some size on your girl. So they don't call you fat, they call you size. Is receiving. My love language is receiving gifts. Yes. Exactly. So I'll take what you got. I will take the blue box, and I will take, I like the wrapping on that box. You would love Chateau Diaries, because they get gifts sent to them from all over the world, right? My luck yesterday, you go golf. Oh, nice. So I like the gift part. I like to receive the gift. The gifts are good. I like gifts, but like present gifts. So my loves, I'll take all the boxes. Yes, I'll take all the boxes. Yes, and it's amazing. It's amazing what people, the generosity of people sometimes is just astounding. It's actually very beautiful. It's very beautiful. Well, I'm going to let Dana, go and enjoy your golf today. Candace, you enjoy your shake, and to all of you out there, go enjoy your day today. You know what? Shake off anything that's sort of getting you sort of angry or something that's sitting there. Shake it all off and enjoy your day. I mean, life is too fucking short to be angry at some kind of stupid ass shit. So, she'll send you a gift. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. I love you. May the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless you in all that you say and all that you be and you do. Shake it, baby. Shake it. Have a great one. Bye-bye.